Hi, I thought what I'd talk about in today's video is the support network that is very important for somebody who's trying to deal with bipolar and or borderline personality disorder. Um, it's I've I think I've spoken before in other videos that it's difficult for a partner to come to terms with A, the diagnosis, and B, the the impact that diagnosis is going to have on their continued relationship. Um, it's also very difficult for a person who's got bipolar or BPD to actually summon up the courage and and find the right time to tell a potential partner that they're actually dealing with these mental health issues themselves. Now, I I I've suffered with mental health issues pretty much all of my life, and I can say I've been in a few different relationships, serious relationships. I'm talking about, um, and and I will be perfectly honest with you. I have no idea when is the best time to actually tell your new partner that you suffer from at times from crippling depression, that you've got a, a short temper, that you're liable to have all these over the top emotions, or that you sometimes you go off the rails and party all night and basically spend all of your money. It's a massive thing to trust somebody with, particularly as in a lot of cases the people that you work for and even sometimes your friends don't know exactly what you're going through. So by actually telling somebody, um, you're relying on them not to break your trust. Now, for me, I mean, I recognise that the term bipolar and the term borderline personality disorder, both of them, even if you've only got a rudimentary knowledge of what each of them entails, people are very capable of googling something nowadays, checking it out on Wikipedia, and whereas if I stay on my meds, my highs and lows, are, like I've said before, are never too extreme. So they're pretty much like everybody else's. Sometimes a bit of retail therapy helps pick up a low mood. And that's true pretty much throughout society. People with mental health issues, people without, and when you fill in a job application and they ask if you've got any medical problems. Obviously, I put down that I've got diabetes because it's important that a potential employer knows that you've got diabetes type 1, especially because you really need to be telling your colleagues about the fact you got that disease because you might need their support at some point if you have a hypo, your blood sugar drops and you start becoming incoherent. But if I stay on my meds, as I say, I I should be relatively normal, not much different to everybody else. And to actually put bipolar on there or on an application form or borderline personality disorder, you're running the risk of straight away your job application being thrown on the reject pile. So I would say that I don't think I've ever told an employer about my mental health issues. I've told I, I know that sounds a bit daft because now I'm telling anybody that can watch this video can um, can find out that I've got that. But I don't actually have to work for anybody else now. I said before I work as a writer, and so basically I am my own boss, and it doesn't matter what 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 I've got wrong with me. Um, because as my own boss, I don't really care. But when it comes to telling a potential partner or a new partner, you're just hoping that um, they don't tell anybody. And normally when we embark on a new relationship with somebody, we like to tell our families about that person. We'll tell a family, oh, she's she's the best thing I've ever met, and she's perfect, and she she's got a really good sense of humour, and all. Oh, and by the way, she's got borderline personality disorder. Straight away, you're running the risk of being alienated by in-laws, by friends of your partner, by your own friends, because occasionally they can let it slip to friends that you would rather not know about this issue. And when I'll tell you about myself, just prior to and like immediately after, and then long term after I was diagnosed with bipolar. Um, I went to the psychiatrist with with my partner. She was my partner then, I think. I think this is before I got married. Before we, yeah, I'm pretty certain it was before we got married. Um, and she was kind of telling me I needed to seek some support because my emotions were all over the place. Um, and I was referred to a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist at the end of their first session, where he'd listened to what my wife had told him, where he listened to me and my feelings and everything. He basically said, it seems as though you meet some of the criteria for being bipolar, and he prescribed quetiapine, which was Seroquel, which is I think the first thing they normally try you on. I mean, there's obviously stuff like lithium and stuff like that. Um, and when we came away from that first meeting, not much was said between me and my wife. It was like, okay, yeah, I've got a diagnosis now. Now, but bearing in mind when you start treatment, so you start on the antipsychotics. That is what it says on the boxes over here. But when you get a prescription, it will say what it is, how many times a day you've got to take it, what the dose is, and so forth. And it will give a brief description what it actually is. This is on the little sticker that comes on they put on the box. And rather than just not tell anybody that looks in your medicine cabinet and sees a box of quetiapine, what it actually says on it is antipsychotic. But when you first start to take this medication, there is a settling in period where you'll either feel well, you'll probably feel worse before you feel better. There's side effects that you have to push through to you have to get to a point where the medication starts to work, which can take a few weeks, and the side effects can take a few weeks to. So you either get used to the side effects or they subside, and you don't have to worry about them anymore. Um, and so there's I was like up and down quite a bit. My emotions were even more exaggerated up and down. So I was also on a sertraline for the depression side, and there was one point a few months down the line. This was actually that uh, my wife actually said to me, "You you've got worse since the diagnosis, and I think you're basically exaggerating it." Something along that. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along those lines. And that did piss me off, because obviously my emotions have always been up and down, all over the place, and everything. The medication kind of it kind of helps. It, like I say, the highs and lows are not so high. She's seemed to forget the times when I would say to her, this is before we moved in together, when I'd say to her, I've not been asleep for like 3 days, solid. And that was my mania. And as I've said before, my mania didn't manifest itself in psychosis or anything like that. It was literally just hypermania. And it seemed that once I got the diagnosis, she became less understanding, less forgiving, and more pissed off with me, and more short-tempered with me, more but less patient. Not short-tempered is not the right word. Less patient, and I mean it put a massive strain on our marriage, and on our relationship. And when somebody says something like that to you, then you're less inclined to want to share your feelings with them. Whether you're feeling high or low, you just kind of withdraw into yourself. And at the time, although we'd kind of moved in together, my mum, God rest her soul and everything, my mum was very poorly, so I'd spend some time sleeping in this house, which is the house that I lived in with my mum before I got married, and sometimes I'd spend in like the matrimonial home. Is that the right term? And I started to spend more time staying here than there. And she started because sometimes we used to have that time apart, a, a night or two apart, and sometimes she'd actually spend the night here as well. So we'd both not be sleeping in the house we shared, but we'd both be sleeping here. But then she started to do that less and less and less and less, and so we ended up spending more and more time apart. And it, well, like I say, the marriage just kind of changed. And what I'm really trying to say, without any kind of recriminations, because it's I would imagine that it's, and I swear I would imagine it's fucking difficult to live with somebody who who's got bipolar, and even worse, or even more difficult to live with somebody who's got bipolar and borderline personality disorder. I mean, my wife would say that she was walking on eggshells around me, because if she wanted to tell me something that I'd done that she didn't like, or that we'd had a falling out, or that I'd pissed off about something, she felt that she couldn't tell me. She had to really gauge what my emotion was at the time. And yeah, sometimes she'd tell me something, we'd have a massive argument, and just everything would be even fucking worse. Um, and then sometimes she'd tell me, and I'd sit there and listen. I used to work as a counsellor, so I would sit there and listen and take it all in, take it all on board, process it, digest it, and be really, really understanding with her criticism and everything. But yeah, we spent more and more time apart from each other. So what I'm saying is, it is very difficult for somebody to live with someone who's got all of these issues, and it's also very difficult to for somebody with all of these issues to live alone. Um, I I really needed support when my mum passed away, and you know what? I will tell you about the day that my mum died in another video, and I'll take you through all the emotions that I was feeling. Um, but yeah, I needed support after my mum died. Um, I've had moments of bouts of depression. I struggle with my meds more now. Like if I've not made up a batch for the week, I'll probably miss my morning meds or my evening meds. Like last night, and I have no idea why. And I think I was just really, really tired. I spent most of yesterday and most of last night sleeping. And I woke up this morning at 6:30, and I kind of felt more refreshed because I'd slept for so long. Um, but I didn't take my meds last night, and I take the quetiapine before I go to sleep, together with pregabalin, which is for nerve pain. And in the morning I take pregabalin and sertraline. Now, if I miss the evening meds and the morning meds, then by the afternoon, I'm starting to feel really, really depressed, and also my emotions are like in a massive turmoil. Um, so so now I'm dealing with this all by myself. There's nobody supporting me, nobody making up my meds, nobody making sure that I take my meds, nobody making sure that I don't inject myself with a full pen of insulin to kill myself. I'm literally I say I'm not in a bad place at the moment. But there's nobody to support me. So I haven't got much in the way of a support network. Um, and with this coronavirus thing, I'm, I'm not seeing a mental health team. I haven't seen my psychiatrist since uh, probably since the end of last year. I haven't seen my counsellor. I've seen a counsellor every week, and she was a very good one. She's the second counsellor that I've seen. I'm not saying the first one wasn't any good. The first one was very good as well. It's just there was a gap in between that and then my last counsellor. So yeah, so I I really could do with talking over some of the issues that I've got, some of the issues that everybody else gets when their marriage is broken down, when they've been cheated on, when somebody they care about dies, all of these normal kind of issues. And I've literally got nobody to talk with about them. I just feel my friends and my family don't want to, but my family's quite distant from me. Um, so I've got like a sister, but she lives miles away, and um, I generally don't see much of my family. Let's put it that way. Um, so So I haven't got much of a support network. I personally would really love to have a support network. I'd love to have, uh, uh, a partner who could help me keep on top of things. But that's the whole thing about this video is it's very difficult to find somebody who can offer you that kind of support. And it's also, I can't say anything really glib like, and if you find somebody that is offering you that support, don't push them away, because if you've got bipolar and if you've got BPD and if you've got both of them, it's very difficult at times not to push somebody away. Sometimes I need to be selfish. I need to just think of myself. And sometimes I need somebody to just uh, stroke my hair, what's left of it, and just say there, and sort of bring my mood back up. So it's going to be a rarity, I think, that let's talk about it from my perspective rather than say what might happen to you. It it will probably be very rare, very unlikely for me to find somebody who is understanding of my mental health issues, and who will help me, and who will stay with me in spite of me losing my shit, or sinking into a really bad depression. It takes a very, very strong person to help you through that. And I don't think that I've ever, well, I have never met a partner who is strong enough, and this is not a criticism, it's just an observation. I've never met a partner who's strong enough to be able to deal with my bipolar and my borderline personality disorder without at some point giving up and running away. And like I say, it's not a criticism, it's an observation. Because if I'm being honest, if I'm being absolutely 100% honest, I don't know if the boot was on the other foot, whether I'd be able to deal with it. So yeah, there's going to be lots and lots of people with bipolar and BPD who are probably now in the same kind of boat that I'm in now. But that is, there's nobody there for me. There's nobody there to support me. And we what I need to do is stay 100% strong and mindful of when I'm having blips, and when I'm starting to my mood's starting to rise, and because I just need to monitor those dips and rises. And if it gets to the point where I know, because I do know when it's going to go too far, when I'm going to sink into a depression that's going to last, or I'm going to go hyper and I know it's going to last, that's when I need to ask for support. And support for me comes in the shape of basically the mental health team for this area where I live. So that's just what I'd say. If you're in the same boat as me, you should kind of figure out when you're getting close to losing control one way or the other, and and that's when you need to ask for support. Now, that's I'm talking about bipolar. Borderline personality disorder is a different thing altogether, and as I've said before, I can go from 0 to 60 and just like that. So it can be a road rage incident, I, and that's obviously more difficult to keep a lid on, so to speak. Um, and that it, I genuinely do need somebody alongside me, for example in a car, if I'm going to lose my shit, for them to go, just leave it. No, just leave it, come on, calm down. It's, he's a twat, just forget about it. um Somebody to just kind of just to kind of mitigate what's just happened, and say it's not worth it. So yeah, I mean, that's all I wanted to say for this video. Sorry I've rambled quite a bit. I am sniffing. It's not because I'm crying, it's because I didn't take my antihistamine last night, and it always impacts on me. So anyway, look, I will see you next time, guys, and stay safe. Try and keep a lid on things, and yeah, hopefully you'll be around to watch the next video.